Hey guys, welcome back to
The
Ride
Ride
Home. I'm Trip,
And I'm Daniel.
I'm Mitch.
and today we're going to jump into the last of our testimonies. Daniel hears.
Woo!
Ooh, yeah.
But first, I've got a little game for these guys and a little prize. They don't know what it is
A
yet.
prize.
Yeah, it's pretty mint. Pretty
It's a
mint.
mint?
Well, no, it's not a mint.
Oh.
Well, let's just say it's gonna be a blast from the past. Okay, but so for the game,
Interesting.
I'm gonna describe really quick. Last episode we heard Mitch's testimony, and as part
Right.
of that, he told us at a mission trip he met a boy who was really interested in Pokemon.
Yep.
And he talked to him about Pokemon, but he didn't know really anything about Pokemon.
That is true.
I was a Pokemon boy, so I knew a bunch about Pokemon growing up.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it'd be fun to do a little game a little contest between
Ooh.
Daniel and Mitch, where I'm going to describe a Pokemon, and they have to tell me, is it real, or is it something I just made up?
I like it.
Okay, because there's almost 1,000, and they ran out of ideas almost instantly.
So is this like first to buzz in, or do we both give our answer?
I'm going to say you get it at the same time, because I didn't think that through.
That's what we're here for. We're
Yeah.
laying out the rules.
Yeah, okay. So,
And then, all right, we both give it at the same time.
yeah, and then
If we're right, you get a point.
you get a point. There's 10 points in total. If you guys tie, I don't know. You either share it or...
The share
come up with the
blast
last
from
one.
the past.
Yeah, I don't know how you would share it. Maybe I keep it.
Maybe we split the mint.
We'll cut it in half.
I'll suck on it for 2 minutes and then I'll give it to you.
I'm good. That's all yours. You can take the win.
Okay, so I've got these in a random order, so the order's not going to help you. There you go.
Hey.
Okay, the first one. These are very, very, very non-detailed descriptions, but a flying pig.
Oh, okay. I thought
Okay.
we were going to get the name.
No, not the name. Not the name. A
Flying
flying
pig.
pig.
Flying pig.
That's
All right.
all you get. Okay. Do you have answers for that?
Yeah. I do have
3.
an answer.
I'm gonna say it's fake.
2, 1.
I was
Fake.
going to say it's fake. Fake.
Okay. Yes, that is fake.
Let's go.
But if it was real, it would be Porcafly.
Well,
Porcafly. That's
how,
what
how do you know if it was real? Did you
I
make
just
that up?
I made it up. Yep.
Okay. Well, that makes sense. I like that.
I
Okay.
mean, the name's there. That's a good name.
Yeah. So okay, you both have 1 point.
1 point.
Okay. Let's keep this going. Next one is a string cheese cat. A
Mm,
cat made completely out of string
Okay.
cheese. You
okay.
have answers?
Yes.
Okay, I'm
I
gonna
have an
say
answer.
3, 2, 1, and then you're gonna answer this time. Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Real. Ooh.
That one is also fake. Daniel's got 2 points.
I'm a pro.
It would be Matza though. Would be the name Matza.
I like it.
Matsukiri.
Okay. Third one is a dog made entirely of bread dough.
This sounds really similar to the cat.
A dog made entirely of bread dough.
Probably named like Doge. Doge. Okay.
Okay.
Dogecoin.
3, 2, 1.
Fake.
Real. Sorry, wow.
That one is real.
Oh my
That one is real.
gosh.
That one's real. Okay, we got 2, 2.
2-2.
That one is Fido. Fido. You were not that far away.
Fido. Okay.
Fido, yes. Okay. The next one is a pot of coffee.
A pot of coffee.
A pot of coffee.
Okay.
Yeah,
3,
I'm good.
2, 1.
Fake.
Fake.
There's a bit of a delay there. It is
Sorry.
fake.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
I was honestly going for fake.
Yeah, it is fake. I'm a pretty big coffee drinker, so that might have kind of given it away a little bit. But it
Yeah.
would have been Joava. Was the fake name
Yeah.
for that one? Yeah,
Chihuahua. The
Joava. Maybe,
I like
maybe.
that.
Okay. The next one
Would that
is
evolve into like espresso or something?
I guess.
Sorry.
I think you
know.
would have to.
I knew
Well, it's more
Pokemon
powerful,
evolved.
so
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, espresso is stronger than coffee. It makes sense.
That's the next one.
The next one is a lizard that is also a motorcycle.
Okay.
3, 2, 1.
Real.
Fake.
That one is real.
Let's go.
So Mitch is up by 1 point. That
Three.
one, I don't know if this is how you pronounce it. It's Cyclazar, I think. Cyclazar. So.
I'm gonna have to switch it up here.
Cyclazar, I choose
Some of these
you.
do freaking sound fake.
Yeah, I know, right? There's some better ones still. Don't worry.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
The next one is a pink blob that can turn into anything.
Okay.
Okay, yeah.
I like that.
I think I'm good.
3, 2, 1.
Real.
Real. That one's Ditto. That's like one of the original ones. So I figure that might be easier.
Is he on Smash?
Yes.
I think
Yes.
that's why I
I'm
know
not
Okay.
that
gonna lie
one.
to you.
Yeah.
I was thinking about the pink guy or the mushroom guy
Jigglypuff?
from Mario Kart.
Oh.
That's Kirby, right?
Kirby, yeah.
Kirby.
Sorry, Kirby, yeah.
Or- okay,
Wait.
you still got it. You still
Kirby
got
and
it.
Jigglypuff are different, aren't they?
Yeah, Kirby's from Kirby, but Jigglypuff is from Pokemon.
Got it.
Yeah, Kirby's not a Pokemon.
Kirby, like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got
he like
it.
sucks things up and then turns into them.
He's also on Smash.
He
Yeah.
is. He is.
Okay.
Okay, Mitch is still up by 1.
Let's go.
We've got like 4 more. So this one is a floating key ring with keys on it. Is that real or fake?
Floating keyring.
Floating key ring with some keys on it. We got 3, 2, 1.
Fake.
Real.
That one is real.
Let's go. Why am I doing so well?
That one's called Klefki.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a
okay.
floating ring of keys.
There ain't no way.
Yeah, it is. I promise it's real.
I want to see that card.
Well, I'll show you some pictures after the episode, but it is real.
Yeah.
So we've got 3 left. So you still have a chance here, but he's up by 2 though.
So you gotta win out.
You gotta give me Pikachu.
So
That's about the only one I know.
Pikachu is not an option. It was not going to be on here. No, spoiler alert. But the next one is a pepperoni pizza. That's it. Just a pepperoni pizza.
Yeah.
Real or fake?
Let's go.
3, 2, 1.
Real.
Nope, it is fake. There is no pizza Pokemon. But if there was,
Really?
it would be called Roni.
Probably because I was just one.
Scores
pepperoni
the
pizza.
same.
Yep. Up by 2. You have to get them next both right. Mitch has to get them wrong. Otherwise, Mitch is gonna take home such a prize, a
from the
gem,
past.
Oh, I
a
got this.
gem.
I got this.
Okay, next one is a Pokemon that can turn into various household appliances.
That sounds useful.
Real or fake?
Sounds like a transformer.
3, 2, 1.
Real.
It is real.
Oh.
It is called Rotom, and it can turn into like a lawnmower, a washing machine, a fridge, a bunch of different random things.
I
I need
like
that at my
one.
house.
I would choose that one.
Hey, that would be useful.
Yeah. I play
So,
that card all the time.
Mitch is automatically going to win this one,
Yeah.
but we've got one
Hey,
last
there's
question.
Still one more. We got this.
We can see what happens
Wait,
here.
You're
not give
saying
up.
there's a chance.
No, there's actually not a chance, but we can see what happens. Last question. Last one is a bag of trash. A bag of trash. Real or fake? 3, 2, 1.
Fake.
Real.
It is real. It is
Oh.
called.
Salt in the wound.
It is called Trubbish.
Oh, that's so dumb.
They just combine the word trash and rubbish.
Sorry, Pokemon fans.
Okay.
I'm not a fan.
So, the ultimate prize now for Mitch is a
So-
collector's edition coin
Wow.
from Black Ops 2.
Wow.
Yeah, recently listed on eBay for $9.
Really?
If you had the full set, you could list it on eBay for $14. But I
Okay.
only gave you one of the coins today.
Okay.
I'll be
So
watching you.
Thank you.
yeah,
This is great.
I'll be watching.
This is a blast from the past.
yeah.
I need to get the Black Ops 6 coin now.
I don't. Do
if it
they still do
exists.
that? I don't even know. I had
didn't
like
know they
There's
made
like a metal case and everything, keeping them cool coins. I don't know why I decided to spend extra money for those,
All
but
right. Good match.
yeah, that's
Yes,
great.
sir.
And now it's time for something even better.
Oh boy.
D
Go on.
Smitty.
Yeah, a little testimony.
Yeah.
If it was a Pokemon, it'd be a Testaroni. Sorry.
Or Jabba the Hutt.
Okay. Go ahead, Daniel.
Been trying to think about how to word this and that, and I know that I really don't have a way of wording it. And then you just kind of say what's on your mind about it and your past, and then But yeah, so it started. Well, it started out how everybody else has started. I was born.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
And
Most
I know
people
it's hard
were.
to believe. Made it past that. Won the race, you know.
Many don't.
Yeah.
See, growing up, was raised in a Christian home, and always, we're at church every Sunday for years, and going to Sunday school,
Right on.
and didn't really get involved too much. Was never really, just basically I was that type of go to church and then come home, and then that's
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Never really, I guess if you want to say, spend the time, or get involved with our church, which the church that we had, which is not really an excuse, but the churches that we had growing up, that there was really nothing really to get involved with except for basically youth.
Okay. So for you, it was more like a family event than it was like a community event going to church?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Probably a lot
And-
of people can relate to that experience.
Yeah.
And that's where I found, like, with this church, Hope Community Church, that's been a big difference, a big shift in what I've grown up with, and being able to help out on parking team and safety team, and helping with the youth leaders, and continue to grow from there, and starting this too. It's been a big shift to what I guess, trying to get accustomed to with growing up and coming for this. And so basically I don't know if it's the right wording or whatnot, but it just didn't seem fun going to church to me.
Mm.
Yeah.
And I didn't have that, I guess, I didn't have that joy or like excitement, like waking up and yes, I get to go to church today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I do, like I have now. Not downing any of the other churches that we had been to. They're just, that's not what, that's just, this is brand new to us. And so going, but anyway, so growing up there, and I'm trying to, so yeah, I'm losing my thought now.
Church was boring, you said.
Yeah,
I think that's
sorry.
like, again,
You
especially
said-
as a kid too, right? I
Yeah.
wanted to sleep
Yeah,
in.
no, yeah,
Yeah.
I was starting at, as a kid, that's, basically just not really wanting to go to church.
Yeah.
Mm.
Especially when our services were like 3 hours long.
Man,
Oh,
was it
and-
Catholic?
Yeah. No, it was Pentecostal.
Man,
Oh,
3 hour
okay.
services.
Yep, we were there at 9, didn't get done until about 12:30. By the time we
Wow.
got home was 1 o'clock.
And
And then just to go home for 2 or 3 hours and be back there at church for evening service.
Wow.
okay, wow.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
this was like all day.
Basically a all-day event.
How long was like the evening service you went to also?
About 2 hours, 2 to 3
2
hours.
hours. So you were there like 6 hours in
Yeah.
one day, and that's not being involved.
Yeah.
Okay.
It could
That's
definitely feels like a chore, I guess, rather
Yeah.
than
Yeah.
a joy or an opportunity.
Yeah. And of course, as a kid in that, you didn't really think about, helping serve at the church or anything like that. You're more of like trying to hang out with, other people
Mhm.
or other kids and that.
and at that point it's almost like another day of school. I mean,
Essentially,
that's what
yeah.
I would feel like. I mean,
Yeah.
I wasn't raised in that kind of setting, but like to me, that's just hearing it. That's what it would sound like. Is how I would have perceived it. Okay.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a good way of putting it, because that's literally almost, what it felt like.
Yeah.
Was
Mhm.
another school day. And and so with that, it's just doing that for years, and that just got draining. And then I kind of, um, well, in school and that too, uh, like the others have mentioned too, I was introduced to porn and all that, and that wasn't really until like towards the end of middle school.
So I know you're
Okay.
from New York, so like what's the transition? Was this church you're talking about like in New York, or I don't know when
No,
you guys moved down here?
yeah, no. So we moved down in 2001, so I was like 4 years old.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So it was
so
very
when
brief in New York.
yeah,
Got it.
yeah. So we moved. So it wasn't in a church there. It was down here, and so we had been there for a while. We'd been there for like 10 years or so,
Okay.
and swapped back to another church. Um,
Cool.
and I don't know why. I don't remember the reasoning why we had swapped.
No worries.
But yeah, so dealing with that, and then back to like the school with that, I was introduced to like porn towards like the end of middle school and that, and of course that didn't. I don't kind of like with Mitch. It didn't really kind of. I don't know if the right word like affect me too much. Like with that, I didn't really
Like
get
on the
into it.
outside,
Yeah, I didn't
yeah.
really like dig into it. It was just like a friend I thought at the time
Yeah.
was just like showing me. He's like, "Oh, hey, check this out." I'm like, "Oh, okay." Like, I didn't know what it
Yeah.
was really at first, and then like and then so, but yeah, so that I catch myself with this now, but I don't even know why I'm nervous talking about this. But yeah, so that didn't really, I would say, dig into me too bad, but I didn't really deal with um, the church thing and just schooling and that. I never really grew up with like a, being a part of a group or anything like that. Just kind of stayed to myself. And just basically was the word I love, well, hate and love at the same time, or I shouldn't use hate, but dislike and love at the same time was basically living my life on autopilot.
Mhm.
And
Going through the motions.
yes,
Yeah.
and so probably around in my high school time, I had quit going to church. And then, and I can't even remember why.
Was
But
the rest of your family still going?
they were still going to
Church?
church. They would leave, and then I would stay home, and
So you just kind of home alone all day.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
How was their like reaction? What was that experience like? Did they mind or
I know it bugged. I know it bugged my. I know especially my mom.
yeah.
My mom's like very heavy into
Yeah.
into religion and that, and my dad not. I'm not too sure really too much with that, but he was just basically
sorry.
going,
Playing with my collector coin. Just bragging my prize a little bit. Had to remind you guys I won.
So yeah, so with him, it just didn't really bother him. I don't think too much like it
Okay.
did with my mom. And it felt like we were like forced to go to church
Yeah.
growing up, and that's the one thing I hated was
Yeah.
being forced. And so after that break that I had from going to church and that, I'd probably stopped going for probably like 3 or 4 years.
Wow. So
Okay.
like most of high school?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so with that, I ended up trying to, so yeah, I ended up taking a break from that, and then our other church that we had gone to, sorry, I just heard the noise in the background. So my brother actually was the one that invited me to an event that they were having. and it was like like a youth uh, overnight stay, like lock in,
Okay.
and so
How old were you at this point?
so that was probably, I want to say probably like right after high school, or right like
Okay.
within the year after high school, or
Okay.
maybe like senior year.
Okay.
So it wasn't, I guess, completely all of high school, but it was like senior year of high school or shortly
Yeah.
after.
And I don't want to backtrack, but I am wondering, like, he's talking about like quitting church for a while, and going to church doesn't make you a believer, right?
Yeah.
So, how would you like consider your relationship with Jesus during that time,
At that time,
like during that several year break from church?
yeah, at that time, I would have to say, and the word I liked the most was, actually I learned it from that church that we had gone to, was lukewarm.
Okay.
And
Meaning, like, you still prayed.
that I had kind of stopped, but I was kind of like, I still kind of believed in them. I kind of stopped cold turkey with like praying and reading the Bible.
Okay. So
Um,
you were like, based on your experience, like, yeah, I believe in Jesus and
Yeah.
stuff, but like
Like
you
I
weren't-
knew he was there.
you weren't
It's
doing
just,
anything to
I
like seek
wasn't
relationship.
exactly. Yeah, I
Okay.
wasn't like actively seeking out and
Okay.
like I should have been. And so with that, it was doing all, basically like I said, going through the motions and all that, but not activate, doing anything more.
Yeah.
And so with that, yeah, so
You were talking about the lock-in.
yeah, the lock-in. So my brother invited me to the lock-in and that, and I'd gone, and I remember it was such a good night. We played like dodgeball and indoor football, stuff like that, and I had such a great time after that. I ended up starting to go to church after that. So I was
Okay.
like, I like how this
Yeah.
atmosphere was, and so I was like, I really want to, and that was the big thing too, is I really had some issues with church too at that point. Was having like bad experiences with people that are, they say they're Christian and that, and are judging and stuff like that, and I've had a big issue with that.
Okay.
And
This sounds like it's like your first real experience of community in the church also. Like
Yeah.
it seems like something that was definitely lacking beforehand.
yeah,
point.
100%, yeah. And so with that, I started going back there, and I met this girl, and we ended up talking a lot, and so I ended up getting her phone number, and we started talking, and we started talking a
It's
lot.
always a girl.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Right after high school. Sorry.
yeah,
But
for real.
continue.
But yeah, no, so like we started talking and hit it off really well, and I'm like, I didn't know I was like in that like area to be anything more than friends. I was just kind of happy to have one friendship out of that. And so the one time we were talking, well, kind of texting during the night, and she had said she liked me, and I'm like, oh, like I thought it meant as like a friend, and then I'm like, I really, I
Okay.
really like you too, and
Yeah.
I enjoy your friendship, and I felt bad because I think she meant like as more than just a
Right.
friend, and
Oh, she's like confessing her feelings to you. And you're like,
yeah.
oh man, I love your friendship.
Friend zoning her.
Yeah.
You're like one of the only guys
Without even knowing
that
it,
would
like,
have ever
honestly.
done that too.
And so like it was an honest, like I didn't realize what was actually happening. I was just dumbfounded by it because I've never had that before, so I was like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what, so so we ended up actually hanging out a little bit more, and we dated for a short period of time. So I think it was, and that breakup wasn't really the best one either. So, and that I don't know why, but that just, because I had that thing in my head that this is going very well, and
And she was the one.
yep.
So how long was that relationship?
It sucks because, like I said, at first it really, I guess the official time, because I don't really, I don't know if I really count the time before we actually officially, but it's sad. It was like a week.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It was stupid short,
Wait,
officially, but like we were talking, hanging out, and it seemed like we were together way before
Okay.
then. You know,
yeah.
like
And
I'm
this was
talking
still,
like maybe a month or two or something like that, which is
Okay.
still pretty short, but
yeah.
um, you know, compared to where we were officially, I guess
Okay.
that we
No
kind
worries.
of made it official,
Okay.
and so yeah, but I guess something happened. I don't remember exactly what happened, but it didn't go too well. But for the ending of that, well, I ended up after that, I ended up I stopped going to church.
Was she from the church?
Yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, and so I ended up stopping going to church, and I felt heavy with that, with all of that, and just because that was my first kind of like breakup, I guess.
Yeah.
So it was like I never really, yeah, I never really focused that in school. So I was just like constantly just, you know, just did my work, go home, basically like a 9 to 5 job
yeah.
at school. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's like I'm not here to make friends. I'm just here
For
to
real.
do my job and get out of here.
For real. Amen, brother.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, dealt with that, and so moved on from that. I was still not going to church, and that was probably like 3 or 4 years. I quit going to church. Well, probably 2 or 3, honestly.
Okay. So how long had you been going to church again before like leaving it again?
Probably a year.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So took a couple years off, went for a year, and then another 2, 3 years.
Yeah,
Maybe
and I
you
think
knew about like what 22
21, 22?
at this time, like
When you start
after a couple years.
yeah, after the
again.
break.
probably about 2022. I started going back. I went back to the same church.
Okay.
Okay.
I tried it again, and then, so my mom, she's dealing with a lot right now with her kidney.
Mm-hmm.
She had, we found out in 2019 that she had stage 4. I can't remember what it was now. I think they call it like stage 4 renal kidney cancer.
Yeah.
And so
It'd been going on for so long.
Yeah.
yeah, and so like they thought they had gotten it,
Yeah.
and I'm trying to think where I was going with this one. I apologize.
You were saying.
Oh yeah,
you went-
so we found out that she had the kidney cancer,
Mm-hmm.
and they ultimately ended up taking her. I think it was her left kidney out,
Okay.
and her other one's only functioning at like 6%, 7%. So at that time, I kind of struggled with my faith, and that was like, why would you do that? You know, if God really, you know, He could do something about that, and why is He
Yeah.
not?
It was this during that breakaway from church also.
Yeah,
So now you're not. Now it's like less. The first time you had like the lukewarm relationship, and now
yeah.
you're like,
it's like stone cold almost.
you're
at
almost
this point.
like opposed to it instead of
Yeah.
just not seeking relationship. Now you're
Yeah.
you're like
turned
upset.
off.
Yeah,
You're
upset
frustrated
with the faith.
God.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like with that, it was like, like what do we do and stuff like that. Well, I started going back shortly after that, and started going, going like every day, or not every day, every week.
Yeah.
And my mom had asked the pastor at that church to pray for her because about, you know, it was initially about the cancer that they found,
Yeah.
and that they would have to take the kidney and that. So they prayed for her, and the next week, the following week, she had gotten a bad report back from the doctor,
Mm-hmm.
and so I can't remember exactly what it said, but they said that it was definitely not looking good. And I think there's some other stuff that they found And so she went up, they had a prayer thing at the end of service. And so she went up there to ask the pastor to pray for her again.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at her and said that we're not going to pray for you because we already have.
Wow.
Wow. Huh.
And I happened to
That's-
not be there at that week
Yeah.
for church, and I'm really glad I wasn't, because I probably could have had a few choice words.
Yeah,
Because like I
especially
said,
this is a time where you're struggling with your faith,
Yeah.
and now here's this person who's supposed to be like a leader of the
yeah,
faith
exactly.
saying he won't even pray for your mom.
Yeah,
That's wild.
exactly. So we dealt with that, and then that shortly after that, we started coming here to Hope Community Church, and that's actually I've been coming here for a little bit, and well, probably like shortly after that is when I first started coming here, and because my uncle, he's the one of the guitarists on stage,
Yeah.
and so we knew that he came here, so we're like, okay, we'll try this out. And after that, even my brother, he was like, I'm never going back there to that church again. After, even though that pastor's no longer there, he's just like, it just left us so much of a bad taste
Yeah.
in our mouth after that.
Wow.
And he had been going there
He had been going
the whole time,
Yeah.
presumably. He
Yeah.
wasn't taking breaks.
No,
Okay.
no, and actually, my sister was extremely involved with that church too. She was actually a Sunday school leader.
Okay.
And she felt bad because she didn't want to leave, but she was like at the same time was like, it just left a bad taste.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, and so that's when we came here to this church, and it started coming, and actually started talking to another girl after finally getting over the first one. And so started talking to another girl, and it got serious real quick. Ended up yeah, we took like trips and that. Ended up buying a house, and shortly after that we got engaged. Like everything seemed to be moving very quickly.
Okay, this is getting wild because I don't even know any of this.
I've heard a little bit of this, and I was kind of wondering at what point in your life all that was. So
Yeah, so wait a minute. Okay, so you bought a house with this woman and got engaged. When was this? Like what
This
year was
was-
this roughly?
it was when you started coming to Hope, you said.
Yeah, so that one probably would have been 20. So I think I started coming to Hope around 2022.
Okay. It was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
Okay.
2021 or 2022.
Okay.
I can't remember. My dates are all messed up.
Oh yeah.
And so like, yeah, so we were together for a while. We were probably together like 6 months.
And you bought a house together in that time.
And we did, and that was
Okay.
right after we were engaged. Like I proposed in December of 20. Good Lord, I suck at this.
We don't
my-
need dates.
Yeah, it's
Just
okay.
like,
It's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
About 3 years ago.
so we were engaged for 6 months, or we're dating 6 months, and then officially dating 6 months, and then proposed. Which I thought that she was going to be the one at that time too.
Yeah.
Was
Yeah.
Much more so, I guess.
Yeah, because and like we knew each other from like school and stuff like that, and so it just seemed like everything was going to work out perfectly fine.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, got engaged, bought a house, and everything was going good. And probably like 4 months in after we bought the house, or 3 or 4 months in after we bought the house, that's when things started kind of going downhill a little bit. I was struggling still in my faith with that. And I was struggling with my work. At work, I was bringing my issue too was I was bringing work home with me,
Yeah.
like my anger, and frustrations from work, and not taking it out on her, but I was just like I kind of separated myself from everything, her and everything, and then that's when things started really going downhill even further than that, and to the point where we were kind of fighting, arguing. Yeah.
How was her faith? I mean, I don't know, like, go too into it or anything.
Yeah, no, I think it was pretty good because she was doing. I don't know if it was like really, like strong, but it was definitely like a, definitely not lukewarm.
Okay.
Um,
She was seeking like some degree of relationship.
yeah, like she was constantly doing devotionals and
Okay.
women's studies.
And you guys were still coming to church here during this time, or?
Yeah, we started coming as a couple to the church and that, and yeah, so
Okay.
yeah, so that was actively involved in that, and it was at that time where basically we come to church and then go home, and so it was just like a normal Sunday, and we'd hang out with family, and so with that, just so we ended up. It was a rough ending for that one too, because I was struggling. I struggled with like communication.
Yeah.
The stuff that I should have been more mindful of. I should have been open with her about it and been like, "Listen, I'm struggling."
Yeah.
And I didn't. I just kept everything inside, shoved it down, and just kind of, like a man would do.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think that's
Yeah.
pretty typical for a lot of men struggle with stuff like that.
Yeah.
Like communicating how they feel. It's something I've had to get through too with my wife.
Yeah.
So I can imagine if you're bringing home that
Yeah.
frustration from work and then still can't communicate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then so like with that, and then after that, it just everything kind of came out all at once, and so she had a friend that I guess she used to like date for a short period of time. She had reached out to him, and she went over to his house during the night, and I wasn't at the house. I was at a friend's house, a family friends of ours.
Okay.
House. The argument was so bad, I ended up staying there for a few days, and I can never thank them enough for taking me in. Like, because I felt so ashamed I didn't go home. I just went to their house, stayed a few nights, and I'm very thankful to this day that they were willing to help me, and because they were friends with both of us.
Yeah.
And so with that is so. Yep. So that was a rough ending for that one because I struggled with that, with trying to believe that there was no cheating or anything like that. Yeah. So I like to think that there wasn't, but I don't know. I wasn't there. But,
Yeah.
It's just I'm not gonna.
Right.
Yeah, that's not the point of it. But so. I ended up stopping going to church after that too for a while, and then after that. I know I was going through a lot emotionally and mentally, and I was at the point where like if I was driving down the road, I didn't care if something happened and I just drove into a tree. Like I know I can't, openly say that, but
Yeah.
You're at
I'll
that
be honest with you.
low.
I was at that point. That was my lowest point.
Yeah.
Because I'll be honest with you. I felt more for this woman than I did the first one.
I mean, you
And
guys were engaged. You had a
Yeah.
house.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Like, you were pretty in deep here.
Yeah.
Of course, yeah.
And so, this is like a minor question, but like at this time, what was going on with the house? Like, did you have the house? Did she have the house?
So it was actually in her name.
Okay.
But we were sharing the payments from both of our paychecks.
Yeah.
Even though we weren't married yet,
Yeah, that's what I was wondering, is if like at this time you had that breakup and then you still had like this financial burden of the house too that you couldn't afford now
Yeah,
or
no.
something, or what was going on?
Yeah,
Because that,
no.
that would add a whole nother layer of.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
But so yeah, that one
So the house went to.
Yeah.
Were you still helping her pay on the house at that point?
I
was
was
that-
up
okay.
until I left, and that I think I helped her make the last one that I was there, and then that was
Okay.
that was it. And then
So now you're at this really low point. You're completely cut off
Yeah.
from her, cut off from any financial ties.
yeah,
Got it.
so and so the worst thing. So the thing I did was when I packed all my stuff, I got all my dad helped me pack all my things from the house. We brought it back to the house. We put them away, took them inside. I just set them in the corner for, I just wanted to get out of there. And so I just wanted to, I was going through a lot with that. And so what I did was I ended up I went home that morning after packing my stuff, took a shower, and I called my boss and I told him that I wasn't coming in until early in the, till midweek or something like that. I said, I just need some time to myself. I have a bunch of stuff going on in my life right now. Just, which he was cool with it. He's just like, be back by Wednesday. I'm like,
Nice.
okay.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah. And this was like Friday or Saturday.
Okay.
And so what I did, I went home, got a shower, packed my things, packed a bag, and I ended up going down to my uncle's house
Okay.
in North Carolina and spent a few days down there. And that's where I started getting into drinking a little
Okay.
bit, and then quit. So that started going through that, and then realized what was happening with myself, and then I quit. Quit doing that. I separated myself from doing all that. Came back. Well, like when I got back from New York or from North Carolina, I came back, and at that point I was still in my low with like I said, I didn't care what would happen when I'm driving to work or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I ended up, my brother once again invited me to young adult group for that was being hosted by Hope Community Church. Well, actually Pat. Pat Burke, he was opening up his house for a young adult group, and I'll be honest with you, my brother inviting me to that group actually literally saved my life with that.
That's awesome.
That was actually life changing, because now I'm like I said, I'm actively involved. I'm still working on it every day, even though it's been a couple years ago.
Well,
But
yeah, we're all working on it.
yeah, and so and now I find myself, I'm actively involved with the church. I'm actively seeking. I've been kind of guilt tripping myself too, because it hasn't felt like I have been seeking. But even though I'm doing it at my own pace, but I'm still working my way back up there to where I should be.
Yep. But you gotta be careful not to.
Oh, excuse me.
What's the right words? Just put it off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My pace or whatever. Not to say that's wrong or anything. It's just don't trick yourself either.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then also don't mitigate what you are doing, because
True.
the goal is a relationship with Jesus.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter if you have all this scripture memorized, if you read the whole Bible every year, front to back to sideways.
Yeah.
Having a relationship to Jesus is the end goal.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Everything that comes along with
true.
it is, that's just the growth that we experience over time as we become more like Jesus.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly. Amen.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that, like I said, that group really saved my life with that, and started coming back every week at this church, and Yeah, and here we are,
Here we are.
and it's been
Here we
an
are.
awesome turnaround.
Just sounds like
Yeah.
community. Like for
It is.
you was like the biggest.
Yeah,
Thing
that's a
in your-
huge pattern in the
Yeah.
Yeah,
both in terms of like in your best seasons were community based, in your worst were like when you lost a community in a
Yeah.
sense.
yeah,
You lost
Yeah.
Yeah.
a church pastor. You lost
Mhm.
relationships with girls. All that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
you gaining young adult group and
Yep.
gaining relationship at that lock-in. Yeah. That's
Yeah.
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
So, and it is super important.
it is.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
That's,
Like,
we'll have to do an episode on
community.
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
can talk about that, but I know we'll be here
Oh,
another
yeah.
20 minutes at least if we start that rabbit hole.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
were already longer than other episodes.
I know,
so-
and I apologize.
No. Hey,
Can't rush the
Yeah.
story.
it's all important.
Cool. But,
Yeah.
you
And like I
got
said,
anything
we all do this for you guys too, so
Yeah.
not
yeah,
just
hell
for
yeah.
us. Yeah.
Yeah.
else?
But yeah,
All right. Well, I'm
Awesome.
excited for
Good.
the future episodes. Now they know a little bit about us.
Mhm.
Maybe
Yeah.
too much, and
We
now
can,
we can dive into
yeah.
some.
Jump into the meat and beans of it.
Yeah, especially the beans.
Oh yeah.
beans and rice. You know,
Yeah,
Dave
rice and-
Ramsey.
Who knows?
Have to make our own sayings.
Yeah. Saving the rice and beans is something else. I don't know
You
yet.
gotta cut down the right tree or bark up the right tree. something
Yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
that.
Yeah. Climb the tree of life to success.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Was that it, guys?
I
Yeah.
think we're good.
I think so. Thanks
Well.
for joining us
On
the ride home.